Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bronze, Silver, and Gold competitive series. You got yourself some more matches coming around, and some more fights, and some more combat. And none other way to start it with some all-one lane versus Frosty Esports action. Here I am with the most famous kitchen appliance known to man. Pridge, how you doing?
Not too bad, buddy. How you doing? It's been a while since I've been on the casting desk with you, actually.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like it's been an actual millennium since we've been around together. We used to do it quite oftenly in the previous seasons. I believe season 1 in particular, we did it almost.
Yeah, season 1. We were almost weekly, like a couple times a week, probably even.
Right, and then things changed. Speaking of
it's changes, almost like I planned it that way.
that exact joke. Yes.
That was mean. That was mean.
Well, thankfully, we can get right into the matchups coming up pretty soon here. All one lane, Phoenix having the unstoppable win ratio. Is there any comparisons you want to make for ESG Phoenix and ESG Phoenix, all one lane Phoenix and ESG from last season? What kind of comparison do you have here? Is it perfection? Is that what I'm hearing?
Is it perfection for all one lane here? I think they're definitely the strongest team in the league right now. That being said, I think they are beatable, but we did also play them in week 1, so I guess I'm not entirely sure that that's a good, fair comparison to kind of mid-season where they've had more and more time to work with one another and such.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to the pickable options here. We already see a secured Swain already locked in and quite happy about it. Here we go as well. Shen and Zaya as the following up options. Tangelo versus Siviert, I hope, will be a really interesting little matchup here. But Swain versus Shen, I see a Swain kind of having a little bit of a better chance in a lot of cases.
Yeah, the nice thing about the Swain pick here, though, is you can flex that to mid or even bot lane in the current meta. So that's not necessarily something that Sievert has to play.
Very, very true.
I like the early pick on something like that.
Now we're looking at another situation as well. Sonic Ab securing the Morgana for Nezumi, who has been a little bit a ways as of late. Nezumi has not been around nearly as commonly. Speaking of that, here comes the J4, Sonic Ab's second pick every single time. He does not get Trundle. Very interesting how a lot of the matches in their league, it's been a good focus on trying to get Sonic Abs off of his game for the obvious reasons, just heavy early snowballing that no one seems to have any control of the tempo or the momentum. It's every time they make their ganks happen, it just seems like it's worked over and over and over again, and nobody seems to know how their winning formula seems to be working so well. As Rakan Zaya has been secured in the bot lane.
Yeah, and you mentioned the jungle pressure he's able to create. Trundle's such a strong jungler in the current meta as well. It just makes it's I believe the highest pick / ban champion in the league right now, if I'm not mistaken. Throughout the first few weeks here. So already a really, really strong pick, but also throwing it onto Sonic here, just something you don't really want him to have. You mentioned the Zaya Rakan. Pretty good synergy down there in that bot lane. So no real funny business coming out here from Frosty in that bot lane with the bruisers that we've seen a little bit of here and there, but
yeah, getting rid of both a Varus as well as getting rid of a Vladimir. I find it quite interesting that they are definitely focused on trying to make sure that bot lane is going to have a good time, because they got rid of a few ADCs and a support, and just a few ADCs and possibly an APC of Vladimir. They definitely want to make sure that this bot lane is definitely going to have some good synergy. Now, the next question is, what is the mid lane and what is the top lane for Frosty Esports? As Graves
for Frosty Esports, Graves is locked in, so that and the Graves and the Rakan both being locked in tells me that this is going to be a Shen in the top lane here. Mid lane is pretty up in the air still. There's actually a lot of options still on the table. Irelia has been a pretty strong mid laner as of lately, though I don't know if Zenith plays much Irelia. Ezreal will be locked in here, though, by Alesslo. So that will be going over to him, and now we'll be able to see here if this Swain pick is going to Sievert or if it's going to go to Spike here. I noticed the Vladimir ban there off the back end, very similar to that Swain pick. Can go pretty much any lane right now, so...
Right, and Garen now being hovered by Nezumi is a big question mark. It will be confirmed. Sievert's going for Garen top lane, folks.
Yeah, and Garen's actually been slowly getting stronger and stronger over the course of the past few patches, and actually it is the Irelia locked in here for Zenith. The prediction god.
The prediction god. You know, on all of the notions I've ever noticed and seen, I've never seen quite a interesting looking comp from all one lane. They're definitely having a little bit more flexibility going into this matchup against Frosty Esports. Garen, J4, Swain, Ezreal, and Morgana, very good at setting up the lockdown, very good at getting that damage in there quickly, and really laying it in and trying to do as much tick as possible. Swain, Garen, very good at just trying to remove those health bars fast, with Ezreal and J4 for good burst, and with Morgana on the spell shield to make this easy for any engage possible. We're going to have a quick question between you and me about what kind of options these teams are kind of going through. You're a veteran, you're a top laner, you know exactly what it is like to go up against a Garen and Shen, but the real question is, that I have for you, what's the comp mentality between these two teams? Which team would you like to talk about, and what kind of strategy do they want in the early, mid, and late?
Alright, so looking at all one lane here...
Okay, you can take it all one lane, gotcha. Good luck.
Sure, we'll go with that. They've got some pretty solid AoE for team fights with Cataclysm, with the Soul Shackles from Nezumi and Sonic Abs here, as well as some pretty good scaling with things like Swain, Ezreal, and Garen even becomes really, really tanky in that late game. And he also has some pretty solid just lane sustain in general. So it makes even losing lanes a little bit better for a Garen, just being able to step back and passively gain a bunch of health back and not ever have to really back and lose out on experience when he doesn't want to. So I think they're looking just for survivability during the lane phase, and then just a strong team fight.
Yeah, that's got to be what the idea is. Looking over at Frosty Esports' strategy, they definitely like their ability to catch targets, hold them down long enough for the damage to start coming through, and hit them with a massive amount of burst. They don't want their target to move. They want their target to stand in a specific area, hitting Shen or hitting Irelia at the most, because it's quite difficult for both of them to get clean hits through, with an Irelia able to dash through and a Shen with a solid block from the W. Both of their ideas are clean and clear. We want to make sure we can get into where we need to be in the team fight, hit them fast, hit them hard, get their damage through, and take them out. It's essentially beat the opponent at their own game, and they certainly think they can. Irelia versus Swain in the mid lane is definitely going to be an interesting one. Good playmaking options. Graves got a lot of burst. Irelia definitely has some as well. Their plan in the mid game, I gotta be honest, I feel like, is to just make that catch the AOL Phoenix squad off balance, and capitalize on their momentum. They absolutely need their momentum to work out, as I believe the late game option might be a little bit more into all one lane's favor, excluding for the Garen, of course. I feel like all one lane still has a lot of confidence and a lot of mojo going their way, but it definitely is going to come down to how well that damn Tater Tots and Zenith can make their impact into this matchup here. Hosey is definitely going to be an important one as well, but I certainly think that you want to put your money in to the ladies. 5 seconds left to go here. Bridge and I have made our possible predictions. Let's see what the match has in store for us.
Yeah, and I actually do like the Shen pick here as well. It's you can actually block Garen's silence with his W, which is kind of a...
Strong.
It's just a little thing, but it's kind of annoying if you're the one playing Garen, because you just don't get to silence him ever, and then you just win trades because he can't auto you anyways. So
you can essentially guide Garen away from having his type of play. This Garen going for the Grass of the Undying. Let's see how well that will work out for him in the future here. Garen definitely commonplace to go Grass, so will Shen. He's got a side of Domination Tree. I find that quite interesting for a Shen to go in that direction. Maybe he's planning to get some sort of zombie ward of some kind. Aurelia going the classic Conqueror with a Fleet of Footwork Graves to get extra sustain and lifesteal. Xayah with the Press the Attack. Kleptomancy on the Ezreal side. And Phase Rush for the Swain. Usual bursting damage for the J4 on the opposing side, as well as both supports will be going opposite with an Airy Summoner and a classic Guardian. So the question right now that I have for you here is, what kind of situation is both of these teams going to be running into? Like, how many fights are we expected to see? What do you think?
I think for both of these teams, they're going to be trying to hit the mid to late game team fights. Irelia really spikes once she gets 2 items. Triforce is kind of a necessity, but then you get Titanic Hydra as well, and she becomes extremely hard to deal with. So I think that's around when we're going to start seeing a lot of the action, at least from a Frosty standpoint. As long as like one of these teams doesn't snowball out of control before that. I think Zony's Hourglass is a nice little spike here on the other side of the map for a Swain. Just giving you a lot more survivability in fights.
Definitely going to come into play right around the 6-minute mark for sure, as both Aurelia and Graves will definitely try a sneaky play at around that area of time. Certainly Spike must have expected some sort of play there, so he gets himself ready for that type of situation. Vision line spread evenly across the map. Both the Garen and the Shen have decided to not do the vision line strategy, as both Tangelo and Siviert are both on the opposite sides of their position. Both of them have complete understanding of where they are, and it's a small trade between the two of them. Wait a second. What a very interesting display of respect between both sides. Oh, that's adorable. What a beautiful little skin we got here. The lion skin. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
That's absolutely adorable. What a heavy amount of respect from Siviert and the Tangelo, as both have respected each other in such a nice way. Oh, it's absolutely adorable. I can't believe this is happening. That's absolutely...
I can't remember if it was... I don't remember if it was AOL that was trying to convince ESG to do that. One of the teams was trying to convince ESG to just have like a dance party in mid lane before minions spawn.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't let me.
So
ESG
it's a bit
was being mean.
This will definitely be a heck of a race between the two buffs, and it looks to be J4 winning that race, just barely outdoing the Graves in that certain time, and Graves will be clearing out the red buff, working on the Gromp camp. Definitely a good start for J4, winning that race ever so slightly. Sonic Abs, although normally doesn't usually win the race, he certainly manages to keep it a close matchup, and this happened to be one of the times where he comes out on top on those situations.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see Halsey going down for some scuttle control here on this bot side of the map. Get himself a little extra golden FP off of that pretty freely. Whereas it looks like Sonic's going toward top, grabbing his double buffs. Possibly looking to gank once he hits that level 3 mark. Pretty strong on a Jarvan to try and get an early gank off, but he's very low, so Smite available will keep him a little bit on the healthier side. But
Speaking of that, lots of trading going on between Sivier and the Tangelo. They definitely are not giving each other high respect in that lane. Is this really the right idea? They look like they're about to go in for some kills, actually. I guess I'll have to ask you later. Sivier's really low, but the minions are not going to be the factor that kills Garen. It's going to be Shen. The Tangelo gets the first blood. And here comes Sonic Abs on the top side. He's looking to try to catch him off. Garen going for the TP. The Tangelo will not get outside of J4's range. Hits the barrier, which will count as a slow, and that's a free kill for Sonic Abs. Meanwhile, Swain gets caught and killed fast by the Zenith.
All right, a lot of action there. So good first blood there from the Tangelo. Actually, kind of a cheeky thing that he did there. I don't know if he planned it that way or not, but he flashed when he got that Grasp of the Undying stack back up, so it would do an extra damage and guarantee that he got that kill onto Sievert. And then after that, I mean, Sonic Abs was just topside, so was able to follow that up pretty freely.
So far, good momentum started from Frosty Esports as they've actually managed to do something a lot of teams have not been able to do successfully. Get all one lane off of their first game kill. Usually they have the better kill ratio at around this time, but this time it looks to be Frosty coming out with some very well-placed skill shots and some really good damage advantages. And the Tangelo certainly coming out strong from that kill, despite the Garen cleanly taking a massive lead against the Shen. 4 CS so far for the Tangelo.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that a pretty significant CS advantage for Sievert here, almost entirely nullifies that kill.
Absolutely, but let's see what the difference is really when it comes to the money amount. It looks to be, although deceptively speaking, you'd think because he only has 4 CS, he would be way further behind. But he's actually in the same ballpark as the Garen, so there you go. If you want to know the knowledges, have 20 CSs when your enemy is there. But meanwhile, Zenith going in, barely any health left. Sonic trying to take him out. Zenith will live just long enough, but he won't live after that fact. Here comes a overwhelming force of Graves trying to catch Spike, but not going to be enough to catch him. Damage came through, and Spike will live thanks to the flash over the wall.
Yeah, so we're starting to see a lot of action happening here in this mid lane. Could potentially be a spot where these junglers continue to put pressure. It seems to be a hot spot in the early few minutes of this game so far. Might be something we want to pay attention to going into the mid game here. Especially with something like Swain and Irelia in the mid lane. Both of these can be very snowbally champions.
So, CS-wise, Garen now has the economical lead despite the kill he ended up giving away. The mid lane has been a lot of action and a lot of fighting. So far, Frosty has came out on top on these small little trades. Let's hope this will lead to more success for them in the future.
Yeah, Frosty with a very, very small gold lead right now, about 400 golds as of now. That is a pretty significant CS lead in the top lane, though, and a Sievert.
Very close. It looked like Morgana was about to hit a good bind there, just barely missing. Zenith going for a good trade against Spike, and he barely was able to react. Not going to be promising at all if Spike is going to get thrown off of his game here. Usually has a great time in mid lane, but Sonic Abs has been a little unsuccessful so far in his attempts. Does help out quite a bit from the last few fights, but he can't seem to get that momentum going well for him right now.
Sievert's putting out a pretty solid amount of damage here on Tangelo, and does have his level 6, so the next trade could potentially result in Demacian Justice.
Speaking of Demacian Justice, that looked like the time. He's going to flash forward. He gets the slam down, but it's a Graves that's got the cutoff speed. It looks to be Garen having enough speed from the Q to get out of there. I don't think Graves got the distance. He needs one of his abilities to land for Garen to get caught, and he will not. Great movement speed by Sievert, getting the kill and pushing himself way out in front in this top lane environment.
Yeah, and this is honestly just that zone he's been able to create from this CS advantage. He's getting favorable trades, and then just managed to get him low enough to finish him off after a little bit there. That was the result of probably 5 trades that happened over time in that top lane, and Tangelo kind of hung around a little bit too long there.
Speaking of hanging out maybe a little too long, seems to be Swain in a very disarmed situation. His damage is coming through nicely. Here comes Swain for the help. Oh, wait a second. Shen actually for the help. And Tangelo was going to be dropped. Is it going to be low enough? No! Hits the blast cone. Sonic Abs has his cooldowns come back up quickly. Can he get the auto? He does get it. And it is a one-on-one situation for the moment. Garen's on his way, and it will be Graves having to give up the control ward. This is all one lane, finding little resources, surviving just long enough, and capitalizing on the Frosty aggression. This is exactly going well for him as of right now.
Yeah, and some of these trades ending up so close, or just barely getting away, or living just long enough there in Spike's case to be able to turn for a kill on that. And Tangelo does manage to pick up that kill onto Spike, but at the end of the day, does lose his own life for it.
So the damage, the minor trades, and the overwhelming amount of burst has been a little bit unequal playing field so far between Zenith and Spike. But so far, Spike has been falling back in the CS department. Thanks for the kills, because that certainly got him right back into the matchup opponent with Zenith.
Yeah, but Spike is, you mentioned sitting with 2 kills right now, and that's going to basically make up for that CS differential, and I like Swain better when you get to the late game.
I do as
well. So if he can stay... if he can stay even.
I'm not exactly sure where or when he'll get to that late game. But we'll find out one way or another.
Does look to be going for the Rod of Ages. Pretty standard for Swain's. So nothing out of the ordinary on that. The second item is...
Oh, this might be low enough for Garen's ultimate. He needs it just a little bit lower than that. Sivir! Oh my goodness, not enough damage! Shen survives it, and so will Garen. Both of them barely alive. And both of them, only a single damaging proc will do the deed. Neither side is going to risk their lives for it. And it looks to be a pause. Well, thank goodness for that. I will be momentarily right back, folks, as I've misplaced a few things before I started this stream. So I'll be right back. Bridge, you got me covered, yeah?
I got you sometimes.
Alright, well, this will be that sometime.
This will be that time, I guess. So yeah, despite about a 21 CS advantage for Zenith in the mid lane here, the 2 kills and assists do actually have Spike pretty even with him. Still very small advantage here for Zenith, but this pause over relatively quickly after a little bit of a crazy trade there in the top, as both top laners got away with almost no health. Zenith getting a decent trade off here in the mid lane onto Spike. Has Halsey nearby to help just in case, but it looks like Dragon will be started up here by AOL. Good engage there by the Irelia, but not enough damages. He does get dropped, and wow, two pretty quick kills there from basically the entirety of the AOL squad down there.
Wow, that whole break definitely didn't last long enough. They certainly got right back to the action, and I missed a few.
It was really quick. Zenith had a decent ult, but didn't really amount to anything. They both died. Feels bad for them. And it looks like it's going to be the mid tower here dropping off the back of the Dragon and that small little fight they had there.
Certainly a lot of pressure down on the bot side as well. Nezumi going up. This is a 2v2 situation. Catch by Rakan. Big fight going on right off the bat. Nezumi certainly wanted to force one here. Ult available. Here we go. They're going to use it, and they're not going to commit in. They're instead going to retreat back further. Very interesting decision. They already saw the spell shield go off. Why did they not engage that, Bridge?
I think that in Nezumi and Alesto's case, they got a pretty favorable trade initially, but Tater Tots and Hayes just kind of peeled back pretty safely. Rakan and Zaya pretty strong together, and it was a pretty solid use of that Feather Storm and pulling them back to land a couple snares. So there was just a disengage from them more than anything. And
do you feel like maybe it could have been better if they engaged immediately on the Morgana, since Morgana was way out in the front on that engage? Had Ignite, had the spells?
See, I didn't actually check the cooldown on the Grand Entrance. I know he had used it to try and engage initially, but There was a really, really good Dark Binding, canceled it mid-flight, and it never actually went off. I didn't see what the cooldown was at that exact moment, but I'm assuming it was still on cooldown.
Well, in this era of minor trades and minor AoE ticks, we see both Shen and Garen going for another quick fight trade between the two of them. J4 wanted to make that a bigger play, but the Tangelo must have sniffed it out. Began the retreat as he saw something was not quite right about that fight.
Yeah, and Tangelo's starting to lose these trades just in general in the 1v1. And the fact that Sievert's able to just step back and get all of his health back at the end of these with his passive Perseverance, it's not a good idea for him to take any of these trades if he can avoid them. So
here we go. Spike going to commit to the fight here. That's a lot of damage up front. Hayes does not like it. It's already starting to back off and retreats again. Another time, another situation, and yet another retreat from Hayes. Now you have sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, the amount of damage that Spike is actually able to put out as it gets later and later into the game. Now, he's been leveling Death's Hand up, his Q. So it's on an extremely, extremely short cooldown once you get that max. It's 2.5 seconds right now.
Oh, blocked it! That's what you were talking about, and it finally came through. The Tangelo got the block he was waiting for as Garen went up for a Q. That time can block that.
Yeah, in order to win some of these trades, he's gonna need to be able to block those whenever possible.
Oh, maybe this might be a turn one. Zenith gets the stun lock. Here is some damage on the Sonic Ab. He cannot survive that. So much damage and burst by Zenith, and another one for Graves as he grabs himself a double. Hosey definitely doing a good job here, but it's a Hayes that got locked down from the Morgana Q, and the bot lane's completely wedged in. Nowhere to go. Morgana's going to go for the bind, and Ezreal gets caught by Zenith. Here is another attempt for him, but Morgana wisely fires the Q and stops the possible quadra that could have been, sorry, not a quadra, but definitely 4 members going down. Stopping that single-handedly by Nezumi. Nice job. How did the bot lane end up in that situation?
Okay, so screen actually cut up to top lane for a split second there, so I missed like Hayes getting caught there.
As did I.
But did get snared in the backside of that dragon pit and dropped really quickly. That being said, Tangelo dropped in the top lane to Sievert, but outside of that, a positive fight overall in the favor of Frosty here. A little bit of chaos happening all over the map. Sievert did manage to tower dive and
all one lane, definitely not at their usual. At around this time, they start using a lot more grouping. This time, they are not using nearly as much as they normally do. Does kind of bring up some concerns, definitely going up against Frosty, who has been able to capitalize on a lot of their plays so far, and Aurelia definitely coming out on top against the Swain here. As you can see, the 2 more assists than the Swain and the 20 more CS.
Yeah, and that was actually a pretty solid ult there from Zenith. The Vanguard's Edge was pretty on point at the very beginning of that lockdown spike, and I believe it was Sonic, if I'm not mistaken. Killed them both pretty quickly, and they actually got a pretty nice fight win off the back of it.
Zenith, biggest error he could make right now is letting Nezumi hit a single bind. I don't think there's enough damage for Zenith to be completely killed, but it will be devastating. Does end up getting hit by a bind, but it will be Alessio doing absolutely nothing about that. Gonna instead take a retreat as they're setting up the Drake. Quite obviously a 4v3 situation. TP is gonna make it a 5v3 situation. Knock up on J4. He gets immediately removed from the map. Zenith on the engage is going right for Nezumi, switching to Alessio, and he's going right for a retreat strategy on every side. A 2-way fight. Here's an engage by Hayes. Ends up allowing Zenith to get a kill and Graves to get one as well. Here is so much damage. Too much damage for all one lane. They go down 4 members. As Swain begins the back animation.
Okay, so Zenith barely survived in the early part of that fight, and with the help of Hayes, actually managed to re-engage onto Alessio there. Picked up that kill, got Nezumi as well off of it, and then Secret was already caught out by the rest of their team. So they did manage to turn and pick that up as well. This is a pretty strong Irelia right now. Did have the Triforce for that fight, but with a couple kills there, we'll be backing with a good amount of gold.
So
and it's only going to get scarier.
This should be a mid tower here, depending on how much that was going to do. No, not as much as I thought. Retreat is immediately the call, and they're not going to continue that siege in mid. Frosty Esports capitalizing on all one lanes, mispositioned and greedy plays. The damage didn't come through quite effectively, and they ended up splitting the fight in half. All one lane doesn't really usually lose in those type of environments, but for the first time they certainly have. Could this be is this going to be the game that all one lane might have some struggles?
It looks like they're having a little bit of a hard time right now. A little bit of a fight.
Sivier's damage is definitely coming through. Zenith trying to kite this out, but it's too much damage from the Ezreal ult, and the combo of Garen ultimate as well. Demacian Justice finishing off Zenith.
Yeah, and when it comes to the team fights, Zenith has actually been really on point with his Vanguard's Edge, locking multiple members of AOL in with it. That being said, did overstay a little bit, pushing that bot lane, had no mana to even try to really get an effective trade-off there, and did pay for it with his life, unfortunately for him. So now Seaver is going to get a pretty good push on this bot tower. Should drop here, maybe not this wave, but probably next wave.
Certainly going to keep swinging at it, as no response has been made to deal with that. Garen should definitely have the tower after destroying this wave. Shen is slow pushing topside, and it is quite obvious that there's a vast difference between the two of them. Meanwhile, Irelia racing down to bot lane, trying to stop Garen, but not going to be able to make it there in time. Red tower goes down at bot side.
Yeah, and you mentioned the slower push here out of Tangelo in the top lane. He is going for the Sunfire Cape. Will help him with pushing when he completes it, but does not have it done quite yet. It's going to be interesting to see if he goes for a Tiamat after this, or...
Gonna like the hashtag 420 from Sevier, by the way. Loving the KD ratio, my dude.
Oh, man.
Hopefully you can get some of that in the chat, by the way. Hashtag 420 for the Garen kill-death ratio. Would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I think Blaze would appreciate it.
Oh, I get it, Blaze.
I see what you did there, Fringe.
Pretty good.
Oh man, that was
Thank you very
bad.
much, Phoenix. Real appreciate that very much, my dude. Meanwhile, top side is now bot side, as Morgana and Ezreal were originally going to be sent there. Ezreal fires an ultimate and completely stops that top wave. Definitely a smart call, as this will delay it a little bit longer, and bot lane's already going to get the back off.
Ooh, good stop on the back top side.
Yes, so really good, in fact. Here is a Herald being shoved in on mid side. Ezreal now on the race over to mid, but meanwhile, Spike gets the catch, Graves gets the burst, and there's not a champion alive that could survive that damage.
Well, if they survived, they would be alive. But
yes.
if they're dying, then they're not alive anymore. So how would the champion be alive to survive it?
Well, we'll certainly find out at some point. Rakan makes 1, 2, 3 catches, but it looks to be Spike answering with his own ultimate. The damage, here comes Shen with the ultimate. Burst damage by Spike, takes out the AD carry, and the Rakan, and Zenith can't take out Sonic out fast enough, and Sivir continues to push. The silence stopping Tangelo from entering that fight makes it a 4-man down, and Tangelo is going to have to let the mid tower go, and maybe another one as Graves on the catch. Great catch, by the way, by Graves. An unbelievable play, by the way, from earlier by Nezumi and Alessio, and it just fantastic work all over the map.
Yeah, and great use you mentioned there of the Q on Garen here, the decisive strike, completely stopping the Stand United out of Tangelo in that fight. Was not able to enter and help the team out, and that did have a huge impact on the outcome of that fight.
Absolutely, positively. Now the situation has been looking a little bleak as the momentum has drastically shifted back into all one lane Phoenix's favor, and it's only from well-played placements and strategy and good use of CC lockdown combo, as Graves was unable to even do a single thing in that entire situation. The knockup 100% working really well for that one, and Graves definitely going to have to think of some way to stay up and standing in the fight to come. Decided to go it with a classic item of Graves, the Phantom Dancer, as he will be needing that to have better survivability. Hopefully the crits will come for his sake, because he definitely needs those crits.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that does actually increase the reload speed, so he is able to get some more shots off as well. This has been a pretty back and forth game. I feel like Frosty did have a solid advantage starting to go in their favor anyways. But I feel like these past couple fights have just been someone from Frosty getting caught out and the rest of the team trying to salvage it, like trying to force a salvage play off of it, as opposed to just accepting, all right, 1 or 2 people got caught, let's just back up and regroup. I feel like they're just trying to send everyone at it to salvage it.
Yeah, well, it's been a rocky road so far, and it might be a little rockier. Here comes Nezumi trying to hit something to stop Tangelo's retreat. The heavy lockdown of CC. Sonic Abs with the lockout. Here comes Sivir trying to kill the Shen. Doesn't pay off. 4 members bot, and the rotations have begun. Here comes Graves trying to get as much damage as possible. Was that a bind? It was, but it was way off target. The minion with the glove save. Here comes Hayes. He's going to throw everything he has into this. Every damage coming through. Spike returns with his own ultimate again. The damage. Nezumi gets the last laugh on the Shen kill. Here comes the overwhelming damage of Zenith. He takes 2 members out, looking to take out some more, but his damage is not coming through fast enough. Swain will take out 2 members as well. Garen on the chase. Zenith chasing after Spike, but Ezreal to the rescue, and then Leslo gets the kill. Is what I would have said if it did kill him. It was actually Spike.
He got the kill. Oh man, so that was pretty hectic. It actually looked like Frosty got a pretty good engage. It looked like they got exactly what they were looking for in that fight.
So multiple towers will fall. They had it. Yeah, multiple towers will fall here. Definitely the call-in was to go for the engage. Zenith's damage was definitely in the play, but you gotta wonder one big thing. Where the heck was that damn Tater Tots? I swear, it looked like he just disappeared on the map almost immediately, and Alesslo wasn't even a part of the fight, and they still managed to not get that kill to work out. Camera definitely not on our side today, Fridge.
Yeah, I know that the direct camera's not been the most friendly all the time in these fights, but a little bit of a chaotic spread out fight there as well. A lot of these fights have been kind of spread out across the map a little bit.
Very truthful so far. Very, very truthful. Vision game appears to be pretty good on both sides. The vision score not looking high between the 2 top laners. Not too surprising there, but the big lead in Irelia's vision score in comparison to the Swain's is something of interest. It will be something pretty good for their chances if they can keep that vision score game going up well for them in the near future.
Yeah, certainly vision wins games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I need you to say things like that to me.
Until you're the highest one. Until you're
One day you'll get it, Fridge. One day you'll get it, you amateur. That's why I had to retire. I couldn't put wards down.
Well, looks like I got a request to press X on the chart to take a look at the money amounts here, and you see all the 5-digit numbers on all one lane side here, and only one 5-digit number from the Irelia here. Irelia definitely the highest money amount at this time, and it's a bit unfortunate that you could see a little bit more cleanly and clearly where the money amount is going and where the damages are currently going to be coming from this next fight coming.
Yeah.
Nezumi misses the combo.
I think a large amount of this team fight from Frosty is going to be on Zenith's shoulders. He has, I mentioned a couple times, the Vanguard's edges have been pretty on point in team fights. It's just going to be a matter of if everyone on the team as a whole can stay safe, if Tangelo can get in a good stand united and not have it canceled.
So, little Graves definitely takes the guess, and he knows what was about to go down. He does get binded anyway, but he definitely whiffed that out for sure, seeing that coming a mile away, as all one lane was looking for a catch. Sivier really cutting away. It's the true damage, because Zenith's the villain that cuts away at what? Almost 40% of the health bar from Zenith alone with the single E and Q combo.
Yeah, a lot of health burned there off of Zenith. Did actually also proc the
so close! Izumi could have won the game off of that snare right there. Zenith will thankfully be really happy that hitbox did not come through. Shen on the split, the catch on Rakan. No commitment. Retreat is the plan on both sides as the siege begins. Shen has a ultimate available, has TP available as well. Zenith gonna go in, says let's go ahead and start making some catches. Swain is the one who's the target. Here's a big amount of damage. Could it be enough burst? No, it wasn't. Gary gets the kill. Sonic Abs to the rescue. Damage, TPs everywhere. And it's a full retreat by their team. All one lane continuing to press forward. The Garen damage was not going to kill Shen right now. And it looks to be all one lane. Storming out of control again. As they're going for the bot tower, trying to grab the inhib.
Yeah, a good 2-for-1 fight there in favor of all one lane. They do actually manage to pick up a tower and an inhibitor off the backside of it. Only Spike dropping and a little bit of an over-egg.
Wow, you can just see how tanky Garen is. That tower not even phasing him. I think that actually the tower was healing him for a second with how that was looking. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Sievert cares not about towers anymore. Looks like most of the members here from all one lane are going to back off. Some pings going down onto Baron from all one lane.
Definitely an advisable call. They have the lead. They're slowly making this into a very high scaling lead, and it's going to be 10k lead for sure if they get Baron.
Yeah, and not sure if they're going to try to go for it or just bait it. It could be a very, very risky play to go for it. There have been some pretty close team fights throughout the game. So if they do lose this Baron, that could be really devastating for all one lane. Now, there's very little wards around the Baron. They do have one little trinket and a pink ward in the back of the pit here from Frosty. But they clear that out. They could easily bait it.
Complete control of the game so far. Sonic has noticed Shen's getting caught by Nezumi. Great binding timing. Here is the big question right now. What is going to be the engage? Garen definitely liking what it looks like right now. That damn Tater Toss at the front and could not get there in time.
I mean, Seaver can just pretty much run straight lines at them at this point.
Oh yeah.
He's pretty beefy. That being said, I think you're going to probably want Sonic to jump in and lock someone down with Cataclysm, if not multiple members. But they do grab up a Dragon here well.
Here we go. Well timing on that one. The damage, the stun, the lockdown, the villain is getting chunked away. Garen still up and standing. It is Siviert's pressure that single-handedly kept them from even going anywhere close to the all-one lane team. And honestly, I'm wondering what the heck is going on with the camera. Why is it permanently following Garen?
I don't know. He's been the source of a lot of the action as of late, apparently.
Yeah.
But we do see all one lane going onto this Baron. Pink Ward did spot it out before they cleared it, so this is definitely something that Frosty knows about. Good binding there.
Here we go. Sivier once again taking the attention of the camera, trying to cut away at the health bars. He takes out Rakan, and it will be a steal for the team! Oh my goodness, Siviert's on the retreat now, but it will be a full engage by Frosty Esports and a full engage by all one lane as they're both trying to avoid dying as they're making their ways out. No! The animation! His hitbox was too large! Sonic gets the knock-up! That might be it, folks!
The steal was so good, but everyone else overstayed. They just needed to back out, and they took the wrong path.
Unlucky for the Tarantula. His hitbox was just a little too big, and Alesslo will end up cleaning up the Nexus towers That should be all but over here, folks, as that damn Tater Tot's unable to defend it, and Alessio will now go right straight for the Nexus. So will the rest of all one lane. Despite the shaky start, all one lane continues their streak.
I had a mini heart attack when that steal came through, but the entirety of the Frosty lineup here basically falling. Tater Tots did live a little bit longer, but managed to get picked off.
So highest damage. Don't look at anything. What's highest damage? Go. Who got highest damage? Go. Guess.
Who got highest damage?
Yeah, total guess. Go.
Out of anyone in the game.
Yeah. No cheating.
I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess Zenith, actually.
You cheated.
I did not cheat. I just know he was doing a lot of damage in those fights. He was the center of a lot of the action in the team fights.
Well, one question I have to know is how much true damage he managed to get on the champion. 6,151 true damage he pulled off in those fights. Really solid one. The only second highest one was Garrett, as he managed to do 1,814 from hitting his villain. But back to the answers. Yes, Irelia did end up with the highest damage. Swain shortly behind him with barely a certain amount. Shen, lower than the ADC, but not bad. This game, we have a little bit of a difference in the meme here, folks, as we have Alessio, 18k on the damage with Ezreal. Certainly not going to be able to keep the meme going strong here, folks. Unlucky for them. But we go on to the next topic at hand. Damage taken and self-mitigation. We take a quick check of that. Looks to be Garen. One of the highest damages and one of the highest self-mitigated, as he really looked like a tank in every sense of the word. Aurelia definitely taking a lot as well, but go on.
Yeah, he was pretty monstrous come mid to late game. We saw a few times him just kind of walking at everyone on Frosty and not caring, tanking towers, not caring.
We take a small second. We take a small second to talk about the ADC's pressure and positioning. And you can take a look at the damage to taken charts to understand a lot better at who positioned well as an ADC. And you can see here that Alessio, despite having one of the higher damages in the matchup here, doubling his opponent, he also took more damage than his opponent did in the battlefield, which kind of brings up a bit of an unfortunate for a lot of the situations, kind of like how you understand who can make damages happen when they can make it happen. And I feel like an Ezreal taking more damage than Azaya is kind of on the rare side. Definitely a lot of positioning errors, I'd say Alessio did there, perhaps. But we'll certainly have more conversations about that in the near future. In any case, let's take a look at the Vision score and Ward's place, my favorite topic.
We're all surprised to hear that.
Vision score 63 by Nezumi, putting back into the top spot. Nezumi did a very good job on that one. Rakan at the 51 mark. Both the junglers keeping it high, but you know who else keeping it high as well? Looks to be the Garen and the Swain on the Vision score coming out really well despite the amount of wards Swain put down. One less, but certainly keeping the control ward in play. That made the big difference here. Let's see if anyone missed a control ward. Looks we got a few here, and it's by the ADCs, no less. Alessio of all things. Though great on the damage charts, definitely could not think of a time to put a control ward down. Has a Kleptomancy. Couldn't get it out of the stack. Unlucky. But Xayah here, control ward-wise, has 0 as well. Couldn't seem to get around to making a 75 gold purchase. Unlucky, my dude. Bridge.
75's a lot of gold, man.
Is it though? Isn't it like 3? It's like 3 minions, isn't it? Like 3 melee
a lot of gold. Well, that depends. Like I was gonna say, caster minions are worth like 17 now. They're not worth much.
So 3 melees and 1 caster. That and then there you go.
Something along those lines.
All right. Well, I think that'll just about do it for the first game of the day. You can see on the time that we got about 10 minutes for the next one, folks. Stick around. We've got some more casting, some more gameplay, and some more fun as this triple threat off match between All One Lane, Frosty Esports. Actually, sorry, my bad. Not a triple threat. It's actually All One Lane. It's done for the night. But it's Frosty coming up again. They're all up against the Lobster Gaming. And then Lobster Gaming, if you like them, they're going to have some more stuff coming up as well. So we'll see that coming up pretty much soon enough. Anyway, folks, check you in a minute. Check in some time, and see you very soon. See you in a bit. Oh my goodness. We were muted the whole time.
That's awkward.
That's really awkward. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream.
That's really awkward.
We were
I just poured my
no,
heart
we
and
were muted
soul.
for that long. We were muted for that long.
Oh, okay.
All right, we were muted for at least the opening part. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the music. Because
Just poured my heart and soul into that champ select.
Yeah.
I'll never be able to match.
yeah, same here, same here. Well, thankfully, we will see what is in store mentality for each one of the teams as they've got to make good catches, good trades, and good plays. Don't know how they're going to make that work as effectively, but we'll certainly find out the old-fashioned way. Warwick going for the press the attack. Interesting decision. Phase rush for the Xin Zhao. Both of the electrocutes there and here. Janna going with a summon Airy. Kai'Sa going press the attack, and so will Lucian.
Yeah, and I don't know why I feel obligated to note Chef Senpai going for Conqueror. Pretty common on a lot of Darius users. I would say go in like a bronze, silver, gold environment. I've heard like Darius one tricks that are in diamond and stuff say face rush is the way to go. Maybe more of a solo queue thing. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't really read a ton about it, but they're saying because
Neither
like
did I definitely didn't read a ton about that either.
But I guess some of these really high solo queue elo Darius players are saying you're gonna get camped as Darius, so grabbing phase rush really allows you to escape ganks with a champion that has no mobility like Darius.
Well, I don't know.
I don't
All
know
I
that
know
it's the
is
better
there's a-
choice in a team environment, but I
Yeah.
guess solo queue it's pretty nice to have because you're gonna
Yeah.
get camped.
Yeah. I agree. Although Conqueror is always a strong one to have, you get that to proc off. You can just essentially beat
Right.
any tank you are
Right.
put in front of you. I'm starting to absolutely hate that, by the way, that rune. It's just so unfun to play tanks nowadays, because that rune single-handedly makes it so much harder.
Army, you're finally joining my side!
It is just so unfun. That's all. It's just like, it's such a fun ruiner when you're trying to do what your champ's supposed to do, and then you get punished for it. And no matter what you do, you're gonna get punished for it. So it's like,
You want to know why I retired, Army? Literally, Conqueror. That's literally why I stopped playing competitively. Conqueror.
as you are continuously called upon to play. you
I
retired.
do get called upon still, but hey, it's been
Okay.
very peaceful for me.
Who wins the race, Xin Zhao or Warwick? Let's find out in 3 seconds. I say
Pretty
Warwick
weird
wins this
start
one
here.
thanks to the health percentage damage to Kai'Sa. Looks to be Warwick going to win that little race. It's Xin Zhao. Oh, good trade by Edgy E-Girl. And Warwick will easily win that race. It's Xin Zhao trying to get the blue buff. Certainly taking
He's trying
a
to
sweet
double
time
up
with it.
on the camps. He's trying to double up and grab up the Gromp at the same time.
Yeah, didn't really work as planned, I don't think.
A lot of damage down in the bot side from Hayes. Put down onto Gamer. Gamer gonna pop a potion heal it back up, but pretty solid early there from Hayes, making him burn one of those right away. I don't know. I'm always interested to see what happens topside, but I guess I'm a little bit biased. I will admit with Conqueror in this game, it's kind of fun to watch some of these like bruiser matchups, but I hate playing in them. I hate Conqueror, like playing with Conqueror in the meta.
Or against it. Just
Right.
the worst.
Right. I just don't like it existing in general.
Well, I'll
is what
join
it
you
is.
in that camp. We'll go down at the ship together, man. I'll join you in that horrid buff that I wish was gone. Wow, I did not know the animation. Like, I am so glad we get to see Garen and Darius's new skin in this match.
I know.
It is so fun to watch both of them. Look at that. There's just anime written all over that Darius. Like, look at that
Skins are
stream.
so sexy. Those
Just
new
like-
skins are so amazing.
And adorable and just fun.
Love it, love it. We'll see if the skin equals power, though. Certainly seemed to for Sievert in game 1 of the night. But so far, a little bit of a CS advantage for Chef Senpai up here in the top lane.
Oh!
Does have this one pushing to him.
And it is a surprise attempt at this gank. It's almost like they just knew Xin Zhao was not going to be able to do this. I honestly had no idea what got into Glutz and Gaines and Hakiko, but they just jumped the Xin Zhao in his own jungle and took him out in a flash. Quite literally, as he had to use one.
Yeah, and that was actually really well timed from Glutz and Aki. I'm going to call him Aki, it's just simpler. Just timing it out.
Oh, press the attack rock on. Zenith was looking pretty low. He still does. Minions for the thing. Oh, wait a second. Risky business play by Gamer. But he goes down immediately afterwards after Hayes retaliates with an auto passive. Darius does not connect the Q, and Train Game will survive. Ooh. Here comes TP by Lucian. Q does not connect, and it's all from the glove save by the minion.
Glove save. It's not even hockey season, ladies and gents. I love it. We're still talking it. Dude, I'm from Minnesota, dude. It's always hockey season. Surprised there's not still snow on the ground.
Football season. But anyway, oh, the damage. Was this enough? It looks like it's going to be enough. The tick is so strong, and true damage on top of that. Chief Senpai takes out the Ornn.
Yeah, and once you get 5 stacks of that hemorrhage onto a target, it's an obnoxious amount of damage per second.
Did you say obnoxious amount of damage?
God damn it.
Well, Akiko racing down for Zenith. Hayes trying to stay away from Warwick. The fear will connect. The knock-up will not even get there in time. Akiko finishes off the Bard.
Yeah, so good gank there from Aki, using that movement speed boost to catch up to Hayes there. Flash was down, so Hayes was pretty helpless in that. The stun barely did not connect on that wall as he came in. But now Zenith sitting here trading in a 1v2 a little bit. He does have help possibly on the way here from Halsey. Halsey taking this scuttle ramp, or scuttle crab right now. Where the hell did the ramp come from? I want to say, like, no, I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't know what my mind thought there. I had a small moment. But Halsey is kind of hovering this bot side here.
Yeah, not making any plays or engages either, honestly. No plays in the mid lane so far, excluding the invade by Glutz Gaines. Glutz Gaines. And I think Glutz has got to make thinking about a play on Edgy E-Girl as the mana's starting to run low. I say Zed might want to think about an engage soon.
Could potentially try to do that. Might want to try and push and then maybe roam to bot side if the opportunity presents itself. It looks like Zenith and Hayes have been pushed up pretty far most of this lane phase. So might be an option that he chooses to look for in the near future.
Maybe.
Ignite is up for Glutz as well, so really could have his pick of what he chooses to do.
Yeah, not like the last game where we saw in quite a lot of heavy engages and farming differences. Now we're just seeing a little bit of equal sides in one area and opposites on the other. Train Game and Darius swinging back and forth, but no true damage proc by Chief Senpai as he was unable to get that off in time.
I believe he did get the first Conqueror auto attack, but only 2 stacks of bleed actually came out there. So still a fair bit of damage dropped, though, as Train Game did get dropped to about half health.
Thanks for the $20, Bard. See you later.
Right.
Really appreciate. I'm pretty sure Janet's quite happy about that. Free money.
That's almost enough for a ward. one of those ward things you were talking about. Oh,
Edgy
Girl.
Here's the double jump out, ignite, and the ult damage way too much. Easy grab, Aruni, for Glutson gains.
And that was just the misplay that he was looking for there. Edgy E-Girl goes a little bit too aggressive there.
Warwick finding a scary Xin Zhao, but I think he's about to realize how dangerous this Xin Zhao is going to be. Here comes the Darius on the follow-up, or an ultimate coming in. The slam! Another one from Darius! And that's 2 kills! That's great.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to be good for him up here in the top lane. 2-0 and 1 solid start. Does have about an 11 CS advantage here. So he should be looking to build on that. We'll be going Black Cleaver first. Not anything hugely surprising. Pretty standard for Darius, and actually goes really, really well into an Ornn with that, so he will look to be pretty scary here. Now the question moving forward is he going to look to split push and create pressure that way, or is he going to look to group up with his teammates?
Gotta be honest, I think there's on a side note here, from the, as we're looking at the 10-minute mark, I have to say, Bard and Lucian having this much pressure, not even bothering to look for control wards. I gotta be honest, I think it's kind of a big mistake, because that means Edgy E-Girl, who would have went in and helped with a big play at bot side, completely missed out, and Hayes is about to find the other control ward as the minor trade looking pretty big. Zenith, ult connects. Zenith's gonna try it. Ult goes off. Ultimate's used. Great play by Gamer, completely cutting off Zenith's entire engage.
Yeah, and a good exhaust by Gamer there as well to reduce Zenith's damage. Wa was probably safe, but
Akiko
just to be
connects
sure.
the fear. Damage too much. And Gamer gets the kill. Darius trying to take out Akiko. Ultimate used to get out of there, and the Hurricane with the knock-up stops him. Wait a minute. Xin Zhao has arrived, but not going to make any more of a statement. Here comes their own TP in bot side. 5v3. LeBlanc on the chase on the side of the flank. Zed not committing. Gonna let him go. And LeBlanc takes out a control ward and races his way out of there. Or does he?
Not the
He's
way you
gonna
want to
try
go.
Past the Zed here. Locked into the root of the spell. He jumps over the wall with a flash. The connection damage was not going to be enough to take out Edgy E-Girl. Survives it with just a tick of health.
All right, so that was pretty chaotic. Long fight. That was a good use of the infinite duress from Aki there,
okay. But I was about to say, yeah, Glutson Gaines grabs another kill there if Edgy E-Girl does not jump out of that one.
Very risky, and may actually be able to pick something up off the back of this anyways. His Ignite is almost back up. Edgy's sticking around with next to no
Xin Zhao
health.
has arrived again. He's going right for the Zed. He's got to jump out. Zed does have the escape and will get out of there. Oh, accidentally blocking the Herald. Flashes to get away from the Lucian, and Warwick races out as well.
Yeah,
They're
Edgy
looking at
falling
the
pretty
Herald
low to
here.
the minions, too.
No, they're not. They're actually going right past it.
Yeah, decided to back out of that one. Actually, a good idea. They don't have much vision, but what they do know is that there's people missing bot side, so Gamer could be anywhere. Seeing Wa actually rotate at the top says that Gamer's probably on the way to that side of the map, and was indeed.
So, a Herald squabble going on between the entire teams while the bot lane is being dealt with by an Ornn versus Bard situation. Oh, Hayes has the little speed up from the Chime, going to make sure that there's no chance for the catch. Bot lane now, wait. Oh, this isn't a rotation. Ornn was just bot lane for some reason. That's, huh.
I think when he teleported down there, he just decided to stay a little while longer, and unfortunately here for Edgy, just backed a second ago, but gets taken extremely low right away again.
Double knock up, Zenith's ult gets canceled again by Janna. You know, so far, Gamer doing really great on these outplays, certainly making it harder and harder for them to kill Wise Yen. And I gotta be honest, I feel like Wise Yin would have died in so many situations if it wasn't for Gamer's very fast reactions and quick placement. But I think it's about to backfire on him. Here comes Hayes. Wait a second. There's no way Janna can stop this one from happening. The damage is too much, and the Hurricane didn't get there in time. Warwick for the lockout. He's going to try to go for some CC. Not going to come through.
Yeah, Aki coming in, but I guess deciding that perhaps a little bit too risky to go for an infinite duress there with the Crescent Guard available.
And the Feds, ultimate used by Hayes to stop the turret from hitting. Certainly didn't work out like they planned. Zed already beginning the siege at mid, getting the kill previously against LeBlanc, which we didn't even see on the map, by the way, due to how much action going on in the bot lane.
Yeah, a whole lot of action in the bot lane, and this has been a pretty rough lane so far for Edgy E-Girl here. 3 kills onto this Zed. And he's pretty much at a point where he's just got to shadow in, hit EQ, and if that lands, that's over half of Edgy E-Girl's health right now.
Or a kill if he commits even further resources.
Right. And if Ignite's up and his ult is up, that could essentially spell disaster. For really any squishy on the Frosty side.
So, another interesting thing I have to note here is Lucian completes his item first, but Wise Yen does not complete his item. Despite how well Gamer has been able to keep Wise Yen in the game, it's still too much pressure, and Hayes has been able to dominate so far.
Yeah, and one of the things to note is why I actually went for the Ginsus first. So a little bit higher cost on that initial item purchase, not much, but also a pretty significant CS advantage here.
Sniffs out a Xin Zhao, and Ornn will be racing his way out of there. Zed, Xin Zhao. Well, goodbye. Wait a second. If he can get out of that, that's not going to do any damage. Xin Zhao escapes the damage, but Warwick ultimate to make sure he goes down.
Okay, so that was still really, really good by Halsey there. Looks like we're going to see a
Warwick
tower
will be forced to get the kill, and bot lane gets the bot tower. They're going to get a Herald for the trade. Darius needs to play it very safe after that Herald goes down. And bot lane did end up losing. Despite having a negative kill-death ratio, Zenith is ahead by 40 CS. Zed will be picking up the Herald in this situation. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent idea here still, though. Usually you'll see a jungler pick it up because they can drop it essentially anywhere pretty easily.
Okay, Gamer has 0 chance of interfering on this play. He gets stun-locked, damaged, hurted, but not enough to take out either Wise Yen or Gamer.
Yeah, and that was the Tempered Fate dropping onto Gamer here. Gamer losing quite a bit of health off the backside of it. Monsoon looks like it is still available, so could potentially pull a bait with that. But it's not going to matter. Hayes and Zenith are backing off. And that's going to be it for them. They're going to buy some items, come back a little bit stronger now. Couple of ruby crystals here from Zenith, likely to be going for, what do you think, Black Cleaver, huh? I believe that's the way to. I think that's what Lucians are doing right now. They're doing the Black Cleaver.
Well, if he was, why didn't he just turn the 2 ruby crystals into a Kindle gem?
Maybe saw the Ginsus, or thought maybe Glut's Games was going to roam down. Thought he needed a little more health. I don't know.
Well, Zed, here comes the overwhelming amount of pressure, and Darius is immediately removed off the map. This is going to be multiple towers on the top side. Great positioning advantage here. Meanwhile, mid side, they're going to try to take some towers back, but Janna and Kai'Sa, I think, might be a little bit too much of a defense for them to get more than 1 tower. Oh, Edgy Girl does not connect the chain, but Glutz and Gaines trying to slow down their team, try to prevent even a single tower from going down. I don't think they're going to make it happen.
So despite Edgy having a bit of a rough lane phase,
here comes some more help. Ornn is going to try to take the tower by himself. Darius using the TP to try to get up there. is not going to stop the tower from falling. So they got exactly what they wanted out of that, forcing 2 towers down and saving the towers in mid lane as well. Great job by the Lobster Gang.
Yeah, tower mid pretty low here, but a pretty solid play for them, managing to pick up a couple towers here. And one of the things I was going to mention is Edgy Eagle has had a bit of a rough lane phase, but is still able to put out the damage if it lands. We saw a pretty significant amount drop down to Wa right there. Not able to finish him off just yet, though, so... Looks to be a dragon started up here from Frosty. We'll see if we get a fight out of this. It looks like Lobster Gang doesn't want to give it up,
for the third time ran into a control ward bush in the try. Here comes Darius as well as Zed. Damage was a lot, not enough to take out Chief Senpai. Ult comes in by Ornn. He's going to use it to knock up Xin Zhao as Edgy E-Girl goes into a 2v1 situation and dies. Wise Yen utilizing the stopwatch to stay alive in this fight. Train Game and Company retreat and a 1-for-1 trade with the advantage to Lobster Gang.
Yes, small advantage Lobster Gang there. Good catch with the call of the Forge guy there from Train Game onto Halsey. But Edgy Eagle does drop. And Gamer as well, but...
Ooh, damage by Darius. His auto attack seemed to be rather quickly. I feel like he has some attack speed scaling going on right there.
It does have the Trinity Force, so it actually has 40% increased attack speed.
Okay. I was thinking maybe he also went into the option, considering he's got Conqueror, maybe also has another attack speed increase too? Might be the scaling
that is possible. That is possible. He could have gone for that as well.
He looks like he's attacking slightly faster because of that. However, there's no guarantee of information. Triforce has been the new Darius item when you go Conqueror. Why? Well, you're already doing a good amount of damage from the true damage. You don't need to get rid of armor anymore, or at least not as much as you used to. You can do true damage, so what that means, you need to do as much damage from your passives as possible. Another way to get a better one than going with the Sheen option, as activating as much damage into your W is super powerful, strong, and it's going to be very beneficial. So that's why you see Darius do this, and here's true damage, on true damage, on true damage, and the dunk to take out Train Game as he was completely crippled on that play.
Yeah, and if you're ahead on Darius, going Triforce can really, really be beneficial, but if you're behind, it can hurt you.
Yes, it
can. By all means, certainly a better option to not go for the Triforce if you start falling behind. In this case, did start out 2-0, went for the Trinity Force, and you saw the damage coming out there. I don't really know that Halsey even had to be there, but did secure the turret out of it because of it.
So, pressure beginning the siege in mid-side. The red team is not as far behind with blue team as it appears to be, and vice versa. Zed was not there. They're giving up this tower. Not even attempting to defend it. They completely give it up to their opponents, which I think is the right call here. Lucian did have ult up, which he just used. Darius has his dunk ready, has a lot of health, and can definitely fight for a long fight. Even if Warwick does make the engage without Zed, I feel like they don't win that fight, and that's why they gave up the tower. Do you think that was the right call based off of that logic?
I think it was just a little too risky to go for it, and it was actually a small gold lead in favor of...
Oh, wait a second.
Here, but...
Knowing the opponents have retreated, they're going right straight for the Baron. No wards on this at all. Could they have whipped it out? Xin Zhao's on the race. 4,000 on the Baron. 3,000. He found it out, but he's got nowhere to go over the wall. Has to flash over. It's Warwick that secures it, and it's no chance for Xin Zhao to arrive for the Baron. Unlucky. As he did a flash commit over, his smite was true, but it wasn't good enough to get the secure kill.
It was actually a pretty well-timed flash. Got there at just about the perfect time, but
not enough damage from the smite as he was hoping.
Right.
Didn't drop fast enough.
Smite war.
Yeah.
So actually really solid Baron call there from the side of Lobster Gang. Completely catching Frosty by surprise there. Did kind of catch onto it at the very end, but
it's going to be a long one, folks. Unless we see some mistakes here by Frosty, I do not see an end in sight in the next 10 minutes.
And maybe that's what they had in mind when when they backed off of that tower. Bit of a fight here happening as
they're barely hurt. Xin Zhao is barely even touching the orb. That is, you see that end of the spear? Look how big it is. It doesn't seem to hurt anything, by the way. It's actually a fan.
Maybe. But yeah, he is starting to get pretty beefy on this Ornn. Not really any MR yet,
but to get rid of the wave was strong enough to do so with the little extra abilities on the side. Blitzen Gains takes the tower on the split quite easily, as there were no response to dealing with that Zed, and it's a massive, massive lead now. Went from a tied to now a 3K gold lead in almost 1 minute, and we might see the end of this match pretty soon. Train Games hits the knockup, no commitment, no follow-up. The Bard ultimate goes off and it only hits the minions. Here we go, Zed going right for Zenith. The damage was not completely gone through, and Bard gets the last lap kill. It's Xin Zhao that gets killed immediately afterwards, along with Darius. The chase has begun. If they do not survive this, the game is over. Lucian dies. E-Girl goes. No! Stands up tall and strong. Hayes trying to hold off Wise Yen. Oh, the mistake! The misread! Bard gets the kill! Oh, wow! Edgy E-Girl nearly out-positioning Akiko, but not going to be enough, and that should be the game, folks.
What is that chaos that just happened? A bit of a chase there. From Aki, not quite gonna be the game.
I guess not. I gotta be honest, Wise Yen made a massive misread that costed them the win right there. If he just decided to not go for it, that's the game. The game's over at that point. But he goes for an extremely greedy play, going to try to 1v1 the enemy Bard under tower. Hayes with the surprising electrocute burst damage completely takes him out, and Wise Yen, you definitely got to think this one over next time that happens. That is a egregious misread on his part. Game was over at that point.
It's a little bit of a greedy play, but they were starting to fall behind, and honestly, that Baron play just catapulted them. They were, I believe, it was about 200 gold behind when that Baron call was made. They're now up by 7.5, or no, about 7,000 on the dot. I lied. My math is not good. But 7,000 gold. Pretty significant swing off of that play. Inhib down, one of the Nexus towers down, and another Inhib taken very, very low. They're going to get this Dragon as well. They're sitting in a pretty happy spot right now.
Yeah.
All they need is a good engage from a Call of the Forge God here on Train Game, and they should be able to win the game off of that.
I was going to happily be wrong about what I said for the next 10 minutes. It's not going to end anytime soon, but now it looks like that is going to be the case, as they're starting their rotations for the siege on bot side. 4 members at bot side, 1 member is Zed at top on the split. Zed is able to kill anyone in a one-on-one environment. He's looking at Lucian right now, and I can see why he wants to do that. Lucian is quite a scary opponent, and Warwick definitely not going to be able to participate in this fight as he's racing his way back there. Here we go, Zenith catches Zed out of position. He gets the kill. Engage starts. Oh, swing and a miss from the Bard ultimate. That's combo, and Hayes absolutely keeping them alive. The redemption on the swing turn. Hayes staying alive here as well. Redemptions were the main factor of this big ending of the play. Zed dying had almost no factor here. Meanwhile, towers falling down fast. Zenith trying to hold him off. Wise Yen trying to get one last kill, and he's going to get it. It's a instant Nexus secure for Lobster Gang, as they'll be going into the next match feeling quite confident.
All right, so little unfortunate misplay there from Frosty. They did send 2 members up to deal with glutes in the top side of this map. Got him, but that allowed the rest of Lobster Gang to take an advantageous fight in the bot side. It was actually a really solid Tempered Fate there from Hayes, completely nullifying the Infinite Duress used by Aki.
Yeah.
Making him with it, but did not matter in the end. There's just so much damage that was able to come out from this Lobster Gang squad.
You said so much damage, yeah?
Tons of damage. Is that what
I don't know. The chart's looking a little on a low side for damage. In this game.
You're talking about the overall damage, yes, but I mean, they started swinging team fights pretty heavily in their favor, and essentially
something both teams have got to consider in the future about who is a damage dealer and what can we do with their damaging spikes, because these are the type of numbers you don't ever see in a competitive environment, and the reason why is you have to have a guy that can do a massive spike amount of damage, like a damage per minute average of 1,000. You can clearly see here, not even a single member on their team could even break, can only get to halfway, for Zed anyway in particular, but everyone else was unable to do so, and definitely something both teams might want to put up in the drawing board. Definitely not the damage value you want to go in and feel confident about. Certainly a game of wits and positioning that decided this matchup, not exactly a game of who had the bigger gun, because definitely you don't see big gun numbers in this type of situation. But a winner was determined from good rotation and strategy, and it certainly worked out well for the Lobster Gang, as they'll be going up against Naughty Nips in the next one. With this win, they might feel some confidence. Let's hope they realize Naughty Nips is definitely going to give them a good run for their money. Let's take a look at the damage taken and self-mitigated damage. What do you have to say about this self-mitigation on damage, as both the junglers were the highest one to tank in this game?
All right, so wow. Just from, holy crap, I was looking at self-mitigated damage. A lot of it here from Ornn and Warwick, but overall damage taken, yeah, both junglers kind of in the middle of the fray. Both, and realistically, that does make sense. Both of them have basically engage in their kits and not so much for escape. So once they're in, they're in.
Yep, and they have to live long enough, and it looks like Warwick, despite having been thrown into the front more times than not, his ability to keep alive through his self-mitigation was the main factor for his ability to stay alive in those fights, where Xin Zhao just did the best he could, was able to get some clutch moments, but couldn't seem to sign out with everything he needed. Let's take a look at the vision score and Ward's place. A little bit on the good side for both the supports and the junglers here. Sad to say here, we have one of those very rare situations where the jungler Ward scores the support, and you can see it quite clearly here. Xin Zhao dropping a 24 wards placed in those matchups. He certainly did everything he could to keep his ability and usability in play. He did a nice job, genuinely.
Yeah, good vision from him in this game.
And everybody grabbed a control ward, and that's how the story ends.
Army can sleep easy tonight.
Yay! Finally, one team that does that. Well, I think that'll just about be it for you and I, as we will be having different casters replacing you and I in the next one to come. But as you guys can see on the board, we got about 15 minutes remaining. So, of all the players in this game, despite their damaging numbers and their ability to survive, Fridge, give your seal of approval of who do you think did the best in this game.
Oh man, it was actually kind of back and forth for a little bit, and it actually looked like Frosty was going to take this game over. But I don't know who's in charge of shot calling on the Lobster Gang squad, but whoever made the call to go to Baron, because honestly, that turned the game so heavily in their favor.
Completely lopsided the game, yes. So
I think they won off of that.
You know, it's a very rare thing to see in a bronze, silver, gold competitive series where shot calling is essentially the key factor in a victory. But I completely agree with you on that. I feel like the shot caller was the main reason for this victory here, as the damage charts say that there's just not a lot going on here. So I guess that is essentially how the cookie crumbles here, folks. And there's your seal of approval by Fridge. You'll be right back in with some damage charts, hopefully looking a little bit bigger, as we've got Naughty Nips and Lobster Gaming, going around for some more gameplay and more action. You'll see it soon, or at least you'll find out very soon, as you'll catch in some more gameplay coming up. Check you guys soon enough.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Duo Esports Week 5 action. It's continuing as we have Naughty Nips versus Lobster Gang Esports. Joining me on the cast tonight is none other than
Sonic Abs, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, how are you doing tonight, Sonic?
I'm doing pretty good.
Alright,
Ready to see this eventful game.
Exactly. What do we expect out of pick bans? Right off the gate, we have the Ezreal ban. What else might we say?
I'm expecting Lobster Gangs to probably ban Blight's Graves at some point, or someone leaves the lobby.
Oh my, possibly. Actually, not even misban, as that was indeed Naughty Nips on the blue side. They were the ones with the first ban. Maybe a bit of a technical error on the side of Lobsters. Shaking their boots before the game, possibly. Who knows? But nonetheless, we will be back very shortly once the Lobsters reconnect, and so do we. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Champion Select has rebooted, and so have we. Once again, joining me on the cast tonight is the jungler for AOL Phoenix.
Sonic Abs coming in hot.
Alright, so we have a revamped Champion Select. Lobster Gaming Esports have fixed up their technical issues. And once again, I'm going to ask you, what do you think we're going to say?
I would assume Lobster Gang's gonna ban Blight's Graves, most likely, because that is his best champion at the moment for jungle. For GVG, I'm not exactly sure, or Carcion, he can play just about anything. Bjergsen, he really is only good on like 3 ADCs. So you just ban one or two, you could force him onto something. And Boslo, he's pretty well wide reversed, isn't it, as well, with champions.
Yeah, definitely some wide champion pools to come through on the side of Noni Nips. Lobsters, they've responded with Zir. They've responded with Twisted Fate. Will they go for a third mid ban?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to drop by real quick. There's some information that I believe you guys were wondering about with the whole delay. Just a quick reminder, Train Game, the top laner of Lobster Gang, they were having a bit of an error with the Discord of Duo Esports. So, they've been moved over to another Discord at the time. If anyone's curious as to why they're not in their lobby in the Duo Esports, it's because we have created a safe place for them to do so, which we'll have monitored and hearing. Just in case you guys are curious and wanted to know that, that's all the information as of right now. Thank you very much for following, and I'll leave it right back to the casters.
Alright, well thank you for telling us that the Lobsters have went straight back to the beach. Nonetheless, Sonic, we've missed out on a bit of the Champion Select action. What do you think of what's transpired so far?
If I feel like Lobster Gang is going to do what I think they're going to do, which might be Vlad ADC, that can spell trouble for Naughty Nips, because Vlad into Kai'Sa is actually really good. Because Vlad can dodge almost about all of her damage at once with just his pool. So if he times it correctly, it's an easy bot lane win. And then also with the Warwick pickup, that also synergizes really well with Vlad, because as long as you can keep one of the carries stationary and let Vlad get his combo off, and then he gets out with his pull, generally they just die.
Alright, fair enough. But the question is, where do we think this Vladimir is going? Because we've seen him go top, we've seen him go mid, and we know we can go AD carry to boot.
Well, yeah, that is the one issue. He's like the most flexible champion at the moment, because he has high win rates in all 3 roles. So he can really go anywhere. It just all depends on the type of matchup that he's going to be having.
Alright, fair enough. We'll see how much the side of Lobster Gaming Esports wish to flex that pickup. We've missed also a couple pickups, as here on the side of No Nips, they have a Zyra locked in. We feel that that's going to be in the support or a possible mid lane Zyra to come through.
I would assume that's going to be bot lane, because they want to. Yeah, if you're going, if they think it is Vladimir ADC, they need some sort of aggression with extra damage, because Kai'Sa early on does like nothing really, unless they basically don't fight back. So Zyra is really good lane pressure to counteract the Kai'Sa's early game.
Alright, that sounds pretty good so far. As we enter the second stage of bans, Talia, the first one to be banned away from Naughty Nips. What else could we be seeing?
At this point, they might go with a support pick. I would actually feel like Braum would be a really good take. Or not Braum. Why did I say support? I'm so dumb. Kinda like I didn't say that.
Yes.
I meant to say GV's top lane for Gangplank. I don't know why Braum came out of my mouth. Because if I remember correctly, he still likes GP. And GP, in my opinion, is in an all-K position. Because most games now, like it's either you pick some scaling champions or you pick the best early game you possibly can.
Alright, well, Lobster Gang decided to ban Talia and Lulu when it's likely that support and jungle have already been picked, but nonetheless it is still Lobster's ban. Knowing that with, as you did indeed mention, some supports being taken away from Gamer here, as Wa hovers over the only support available left for his support, Klax the Nami.
And if they take Annie here, we know for a fact it's going to be Zyra support.
It would be a pretty good burst pick. We haven't seen an Annie in a while in the BSG CS. Flash Tibbers, though, very powerful move. But why go Flash Tibbers when you can just style on someone with Zed?
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good pick into Zoe, because even if Zoe ults to try to dodge some of his abilities, you always have Zed ult to counteract that, and you're actually able to stay with her because she can really move around as soon as she clicks W. If I remember correctly, unless they've nerfed it at some point, she gains like 70% movement speed for like a second or something like that, which is insane when it's maxed.
Alright. If we can get it in before they pick it, what do you think would be perfect for the Lobsters comp right now?
Some sort of AD champion.
Okay, well, we went pretty basic on the line so far. Bernard definitely not hitting the AP lines is indeed AD, and definitely GP, some pretty good AD to come in.
That's good AD. The only problem with that, Inoki has to help Gangplank, because Darius in the Gangplank, Darius just wins that lane 100%. Like, if Gangplank ever wins that lane at some point, Darius is doing it wrong, or in this case, GVG is doing it wrong.
Alright. Yeah, I could definitely see something going against Gangplank in that lane, but let's look at the comp as a whole for a second. No Neps or Lobsters, who's are we liking more?
I like Lobsters more because you can see what they're actually trying to do. They're gonna work on they're working around the Vlad and Warwick, and then they have Gangplank's global to help them out. If you look at the side of Naughty Nips, you have two champions, or you have three champions that want to get up in their face as hard as possible, and Darius is so bad at doing that, and Zyra has to hit her skill shots to help out the team. So if they both like are unpositioned, they could just flat out lose the team fight. But in pick comps, I feel like Naughty Nips as a bit of a better pick comp, because they're able to do more burst damage than for the side of Lobsters, unless it gets late game. Then Lobsters is going to have the better pick potential as well.
Alright, fair enough. There's something I want to pick your ear with on the No Nips right here. Double teleport, and not in the traditional sense that we're used to it. Top lane, okay, I fully understand this, but teleport on the Kai'Sa, what are your thoughts?
It's actually a really good now to take teleport as ADC, because in this case, Kai'Sa's probably going to be losing lane because Vlad basically beats out every ADC. So let's say you're able to get like 3 waves and you need to back before that other wave gets pushed onto your tower. You're able to back, hurry to buy some items, teleport back to lane, so you don't miss any of that CS. It's really helpful for slow building ADCs to make sure they stay matched with their opposing laner. And Vlad also took the teleport. That way he can be more aggressive in lane, shove it in as hard as he can, recall, then TP right back in front of their tower and just keep shoving it in as hard as possible.
Alright, fair enough. Earlier you mentioned how you like the Lobsters comp. I think the Lobsters have a pretty good composition, but it's going to take a little bit of time for that click to happen, so I'm going to actually disagree and say I like Naughty's comp a little bit more. Definitely heavy on the AD, but they do have an incredible amount of just overall damage to come through. They have the Zed, they have the Kayn, they have Darius, they have a lot of champions that just scream damage, and I feel that if Lobsters aren't able to put them down in the early game, it's going to be a very rough situation for Lobsters as the game advances.
Yeah, I can see where you're going at. The only issue I have, though, is that the only lane that's a winning matchup is most likely the Darius, because Zoe and the Zed, I'm pretty sure Zoe wins that matchup. She wins just about every matchup she's in, because Zoe is very hard to deal with in lane, because she doesn't have to come near you at all, and she can just flat out clear the back line, like as soon as she hits level 6 at that point with the max range Q. And then you have bot lane Vlad and Nami. That's probably going to be the hardest lane to gank for Kayn, because Vlad has his pull, Nami has her tidal wave and her bubble. Like, that's so much just disengaged CC to deal with to try to gank, and when you're Kayn, when you have to be right up in their face, it's so easy to just counteract that.
Yeah,
So-
definitely the case here. It'll be interesting to see how things do pan out in the early stages. That's where a lot's going to dictate in the game. Looking at the junglers right now, we have Blight on, dare I say, a signature Kayn pick of his, and we have Akihiko on his Warwick pickup right here. Who do we think is going to be more effective and where?
I feel like Kane's going to be more effective because he can try to at least gank lanes. Because I'm pretty sure most of the lanes are going to be shoved in. I would assume mid and bot lane are going to be shoved in. It's just the issue is trying to make sure you land the CC and trying to get them is the hard part. Warwick, he's probably just going to have to focus top. Darius and the gangplank is really bad, and if Darius gets ahead at any moment, he can just take over the whole game because that's how he is at the moment. And that might be the safest lane for him to gank as well, because Warwick, until he hits level 6, his gank is alright. It just all depends on if you can get behind them, so your fear is able to push them into the direction of your team. If you're not, then it just doesn't really do much.
Yeah, it can actually do the opposite. The Perennial Howl, as you just mentioned, being more effective if you use it from behind with it pushing them in the other direction. So ideally for Akihiko, maybe a level 6 gank, or maybe with a lot of resources, but he could throw something towards one of the lanes with a flash Howl gank. We'll see if that ends up being the case, though.
Mm-hmm. All right, now I have the important question for you. Which skin do you like the best?
Personal favorite skin in this game? Well, I mean, if you're going to force me to pick here, honestly, Dragon Sorcerer Zyra, I think it's pretty well made.
Oh, Zyra, come on, you're supposed to pick God King Darius. It's a God King.
God King? Alright, well, we'll see if GVG can be a God King in the top lane here. He certainly put on a good showing all season, all last season, and all of the last season before that. Nonetheless, let's start talking a little bit more about this mid lane matchup. We mentioned Zoe, definitely good into a lot of matchups, but Zed also by no means a bad laner. Who do we think might come out on top?
I feel like just because how good a Carcion is, because even when we played against him, Spike wasn't, or not Spike, Blue wasn't always winning lane. He had lane priority because Carcion was trying to roam as much as he could. But when Carcion was there, he knew not to engage into Blue because Blue was up in levels and in some CS. So I feel like Carcion knows what to do in lane, even if he's in a bad matchup. So I'd give it to Carcion in this one.
Alright, just off of seeing both these players so far, Gloom gains in the mid lane, and we have a pause. Alright. So, moving onwards. Gloom gains in the mid lane. Looks honestly pretty good for most part of the season. A couple of hiccups now and there, and also a little bit of a lack of footage with SSJG Goku being in the mid lane for some time for the Lobsters in their last week. Nonetheless, Gloom gains back in the mid lane. Hopefully he can perform well on this Zoe, up to the expectation that Zoe brings to the table with that absolutely ridiculous amount of burst damage. Because if the Zoe gets shut down, then that's a lot of pressure on probably Juan in the bottom lane, because as you've already mentioned, there's no reason as to why Darius should not be able to win the GP matchup.
Yeah, and I feel like the Zoe pick actually has a really good comp to actually go into or versus to get actually ahead, because Kaisa doesn't really have no way to really just dodge the bubble. Neither does Zyra, and those are the two squishiest champs on your team, and they just happen to be the two most immobile champs on the team. The only way Kaisa could really dodge it is with the speed up, but if she doesn't time it correctly, she's just gonna get hit by the bubble that lands on the ground, and then she might just die at that point. And Zyra just has to dodge it, or she will die. Zyra has no form of disengage. Even if she hits her CC, the sleep, you have the slow, then you have the sleep, and at that point she might just die.
Well, here's the thing with that, and that's assuming. Actually, that's a lot of reliability you're throwing on the Aqua Prison. The bubble's definitely good CC, don't get me wrong, but it's not. I don't think that's going to be the main source of poke damage that the No Names bottom lane are going to tank here. I think most of it's going to come from ebb and flows and tides of blood.
I was talking about Zoe has the potential to get really hit against this comp because of their bot lane.
Oh, alright. I thought you mentioned. Alright, fair enough. Yeah, that much.
Yeah, if she roams bot lane and lands a bubble, that's probably just a free kill in the bot lane at that point.
Alright, fair enough. There's two bubbles in the game. I had a bit of a bubble confusion on that one. Nonetheless, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of immobility on the side of Noinips, where if Gloom Games is on his game tonight, then definitely a strong punish. The most mobile of all the champions being his lane matchup, Carcion on this said pick.
Yeah, Acarcion also has what I'm assuming if he gets any type of lane priority, he can easily just roam block because it's probably going to be shoved in the whole time. It's just what Vlad does. Vlad has sustain on through his own kit, so he can just stay in lane as long as he wants, basically. The way to really beat Vlad is if you have to really pressure him, but when you have a Nami with him, that's really hard to do because she also can heal him and deal damage at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how the No-Nips bot lane plays it out. A player we haven't talked about a little bit is Gertzen on this Kai'Sa pickup. Lastly, made his former performance on Roasted Smurf Peppa, which are no longer in the league for obvious reasons. Ever since then, he's been looking to get picked up by a team, and here he is on No-Nips, a pretty solid roster. We'll see how he works out with Oslo.
Yeah, we were even looking for him on AOL as well. Gertzen's a really good ADC. He knows how to position well. It just all depends on if, as long as he keeps his position well in this game, I feel like he can honestly take over the game with Kai'Sa because Kai'Sa is just that type of champion. Same way with Vlad, but Kai'Sa just needs if he positions correctly with Kai'Sa, they should just win everything.
All right, and we do load back right into the game. The pause is no more, and I believe we're about to see some pretty standard 5-point spreads.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Maybe.
More like definitely. Doesn't look like anyone from either team is looking to invade. Neither do they have the comp to invade at all. So just standard 5-point spread, a little more unevenly distributed on the side of Lobsters, but it is still vision control that they have,
Minions have spawned.
making sure that no team decides to go for anything too spooky in the early levels here.
Yeah, you generally though you want Warwick to go to mid lane. That way, the other team doesn't exactly know which side he's going to be starting. With him not showing mid, they probably know they're just going to assume he's going to start bot.
So as we advance in the game a little bit, that's going to maybe make the bottom lane a little more action-packed. Them knowing that the Warwick is on the top half of the map, maybe even that could make the top lane a little more actiony if GVG wants to look for a possible outplay. This is a little dangerous for Blight, but make sure the plants doesn't take it.
Yeah, and it looks like Warwick's going to go ahead and take. He's going to probably take the Gromp Scuttle into Wolves into red buff path, which could be actually really bad because Kane's early farming is still pretty good. You can go from red to Raptors to Wolves to blue to Scuttle Crab, and then if you can still might be able to outfarm to the jungler depending on who you're going against, and then just go take the red buff.
Yeah, definitely the case, and we're looking at already very solid execution despite not hitting the level 2 on the side of Lobsters. They are at full HP, and this lane is looking very gross for them.
I'm surprised right now. Maybe I feel like GV's. I don't know if he's letting Train Gang push. Because I feel like that's what he's actually trying to do. He's trying to bait Train Gang into being ganked Kane, so I feel like Kane might be trying to rotate top at this point.
It's a possibility. It's very early on to go for a gank, but it looks like that is exactly what Blight is going to do. Unfortunately for him, though, it is spotted out by the wards. The Train Gang backs off more than he has to.
And because of that, now the wave's going to be pushing towards Train Gang if he allows the waves to push towards him.
Yes, it is. A little bit of damage between the two of them. GVG getting the winning half of that trade for sure.
That's what God King Darius does.
Yeah, and this bottom lane is looking very rough. Gertzen already used his health potion. Gamer in the bush, not gonna land the bubble, but more than enough poke damage in zone is there to give the Lobsters a big advantage in the laning phase.
It looks like there's a fight though in the top lane.
Oh, there's a fight, actually a kill maybe to go for it. The flash! Both of them go for it! And GVG picks up first blood.
That was honestly a little unnecessary by Blight. That was definitely, he was trying to KSGV right there. But it looks like he might kill Warwick here, though.
just going to scare him out of his own jungle here. Also force Gloom gains to force a bit of a rotation. But yeah, looking at the top lane, I agree, a little unnecessary, but that shows the coordination and I guess gets to the trust levels that Naughty Nips do have with themselves here. In fact, the jungle battle is not over just yet, and it doesn't look like either of them want to have this too much. Warwick walking away on the worst end of it, though.
Looks like Train Game wants to try to do something. Maybe not.
No, maybe not. No, just waltzing around, maybe checking for something. Who knows what? Only Train Game knows what Train Game does.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping our eye on this bottom lane. Is there any way that Gertzen and Vossler are going to get it easy, or is this just going to be a preview of the next 5 minutes to come?
I would assume preview the next 5 minutes, because if I remember correctly, Ginshu's, or not Ginshu's, Rageblade, I'm sorry, actually had got nerfed as well, or it was changed. The Rageblade builds are actually a little bit worse now, so there's a spike normally you get from Rageblade, it won't even be as effective now. So I'm just going to assume Vlad is just going to be just winning this lane the whole time.
Alright. Well, probably the case. We've seen it look pretty rough for them. Not to the point where they have gotten themselves killed yet. And actually, there might be Noips with a turn! Hold on a second! Gertzen's picking up a kill, and now Blight's down in the bottom lane. Doesn't have a level 6 Rumble Trust Press, but just as we're saying that when the lane is so rough for them, they pick up 2 kills.
Yeah, Gamer just overstayed that way too hard. Wah saw Kane coming in, which was the right thing to do, was to back out. Because it's better just to back out and leave. You have a CS lead, there's no point in staying. And I don't think Gamer noticed that Kane was coming into game. So it may have been like a bit of a lack of communication between the two.
Yeah, definitely. And while with communication, Lobsters are now communicating a gank here up in the top lane against GBG, who has hit level 6. Can he make any magic work against it, though? 2 members right on top of him. There's no way GBG gets out of this one. One more hit would do it. Actually, wait a second. He might actually turn around and dunks on him with a Cursion. And there might just be more. There's the death mark going underneath the turret, the ignite, and the pop is there. A double kill for a Cursion and a turn by Naughty Nips.
This game could be over quickly if a Zed gets ahead at any point. That just could spell trouble for any squishy members on your team.
So, I say that he's dead, and he proves me wrong once again. GBG, absolutely manhandling top lane. Mind you, Cursion played a massive role in that, but the heal from the Decimate on Darius, giving him just enough health to survive, get a dunk kill, and turn around. Very good stuff out of Naughty.
Yeah, it was just a little unlucky that he didn't have the movement speed to catch GV, because he was dead if it wasn't for that kill, and they just didn't have the movement speed. Zoe just barely missing that bubble, though.
Yeah, one more hit would have done it. So we have her right back towards the bottom lane. Monster Gang Esports yet to pick up a single kill on the map at a 2,000 goal differential. Nothing too dark for the Lobsters just yet, but they might want to make some moves to stop the bleeding, otherwise it could get pretty bad. Oh boy, wait, actually, Vossler almost getting taken out, dodges the Hemoplague with the flash. That would have killed him for sure, and now a little bit of a bungle in the jungle. Blythe's looking for the red buff, but he's getting jumped on right afterwards on both Trust Press. What's it gonna do at the end of it? As a Cursion comes around the corner, there's the death mark, but the pop's not gonna be there. Has to get out with the Living Shadow, but finds himself right back in trouble with 3 members of Lobsters right on top of him. That's a shutdown coming in.
That was really well played by Warwick there. He flashed at the right moment to get rid of, or to dodge all of the Zed damage. which basically that's why Akarsian did not ult Zed.
Yeah, definitely. Some good stuff out of the Lobsters now. They finally make a move on the map, do their best to stop the bleeding. Pick up a shutdown kill onto Akarsian. How much can they... Oh wait, GBG looking for the turret dive, flashing in! Not gonna be able to find it as Train Game flashes away underneath his own turret.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised from Train Game. He's in a very losing matchup, but he's not too much behind CS, and he also didn't just die right there, which is also really good.
Well, here's the thing, and that's the bottom lane's in trouble. Pretty big. They can go for the dive. It looks like they're gonna go for it. The Sanguine pool used pretty early. In fact, the counter gang out of Lobsters coming in. Akihiko's coming around the corner as the tidal wave goes wide as the Akihiko picks up one kill. No enemies might be overstaying their welcome. Akarsian not able to land the shurikens. Goes for the ignite. There's another bubble at a gamer. The flash cone pops him back in. Warwick looking good in this fight. Picks up another kill. The death mark ignite will shut him down as Akarsian picks one up from the grave. And the turnaround on a Voslo. A back and forth from both of these teams. 6-5 on the board.
This game is insane. But if we go back and look at that fight real quick, what allowed Lobster Gangs to turn that fight is what I was talking about earlier with Nami. The bubble and her tidal wave is just way too strong in the early game, and they were able to turn that because of the CC from Nami.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of an overextension on the dive at a Noni Nips. A good capitalization from Lobsters. They once again answer the pressure that they've been given. But yet the only thing looks like it's never going to get answers with what all this pressure that GBG has in the top lane. They might just be able to shut him down here though. The Decimate looks good, but it doesn't look like he can turn around for a kill. Now in the bottom lane, Gamer gets tagged by the Void Seeker, goes over the wall, but it's not gonna matter because Gertson is there, follows through, and that's another kill.
What I want to know is why did Blank go top lane? Like when he's seen all three of them top, they should have just ran straight for Dragon and just done it after the Nami died. He should have been running straight for Dragon.
Well, not the move done by Noni Nips on that one. Might have costed them an early Dragon. But nonetheless, once again, one team goes for a play, the other team, alright, you know what? We're either going to be right there with you, or we're going to make something happen on the other side of the map.
If I was Naughty Nips though, I'd actually be pretty concerned right now. Because Gangplank is 1, 2, and 2. Darius is 1, 1, and 2. Gangplank is barely ahead in farm, although he might die right here actually.
Oh, there is a very good chance he's dead here. DBG, Q, Auto are a couple of abilities. Doesn't even need to use the ultimate. No style points needed whatsoever. And that is another time that Gangplank has died. 3 deaths in this top lane. Via GBG might be answering with his second. Akihiko looking for the kill here. Does he have the damage to shut him down? Or is GBG going to turn it on him? There's no way he makes it happen. Or does he? GBG once again. Now in the bottom lane, Gertson's going to get another kill onto Nami.
That was a little too greedy by Akihiko going for the tower dive over there. And it was also a little bit more greedy for Gamer to try to clear the ward out in the Tribush, which is definitely what got him killed. He needs to make sure he's staying with Vlad, because they won't harass as long as he's with Vlad, because Vlad, I mean, it's Vlad. That's all you got to say at that point.
Yeah, and at the same time, actually, oh my goodness, that's gonna be a kill. Stopwatch forced out of gluten gains. Akarsian not able to go any further for the kill, but definitely a panic move out of the Zoe.
feel like a Carcion could actually just go kill Zoe right now. I feel like he could have shadow dashed and then just ulted and it killed him.
Oh boy. Train game, more like camp game, as he gets absolutely decimated as the 4th time in the top lane. GP's not having it fun this game.
More like camp game. I feel like it's the other way around for actually for GV. He's being the one that's being camped.
But yeah, but it doesn't matter because he's GVG, and as a result, he is turning around almost every single one of the Lobster's attempts at ganking him so far. Akihiko and Train Game not on the same page with these ganks, and definitely underestimating the damage that Darius is capable of at this stage of the game. It's costed them a lot of kills, and it's about to cost them the first start of the game. Now in the mid lane, Karskian going right onto Gloomgains underneath the turret shot, taking them both very low. Neither of them are gonna fall you though.
Yeah, Gain, I just forgot his name all of a sudden. Gain actually played that really well. He utilized his ult very effectively and dodged, I think, almost all the shuriken that came out from his head. There's my dog.
Sounds like a hungry fella over there. Nonetheless, Noinep's in prime position to take this Mountain Dragon. Lobsters, looks like they actually do not know what is going on. Akihiko is getting caught out on this one and taken down. Blight caught him shopping. Now it looks like Noinep's carrying the momentum onwards. The Mountain Dragon under fire here. There is no way Lobsters are able to touch this thing whatsoever. Gertzen's the one that takes the CS for himself here. And now Gamer also might be in trouble. Blight's looking for it, lands the knockup as Gertzen follows through. That is another kill. Now the first one over to Voslo.
Alright, well, I'm here, and I'm ready to replace Sonic. Let's do this.
Okay. Sounds good, Army. So,
I know.
you've watched this game from the sidelines so far. What are your thoughts on it?
Seems to be Naughty Nips having a lot of strong momentum on a lot of the parts of this matchup here. Oh!
And I think almost as much damage to go with it, as they're about to get a kill in the bottom lane, and almost another one in the mid.
Garcian barely... Oh, never mind.
Nah, he's not going to barely get out of this one, that's for sure. Akihiko shuts him down. Finally, they're able to match some of the pressure, but...
Just, very fast and very quick. Akihiko really did not want me to be right about that. Certainly good to see that they're managing to get some kills in retaliation, but that bot lane so far is struggling quite a bit to Gerson and Voss in that, and it was the other way around earlier in the match.
Yeah, it definitely was, and as of right now, very tough for Lobsters. They need to find just these small catch kills on Anodi's over aggression, because as of right now, GVG is absolutely slaughtering Train Game in the top lane. Kind of an even matchup in the jungle, albeit Blight does have the farm advantage, as to where Akihiko has more kills. Mid lane, very back and forth, in bottom lane, not looking too pretty for Lobster.
This situation so far is definitely going to be a lot more favorable if there will be some more action going around towards the mid lane for Train Game. He could definitely take advantage of some better burst damage with Zoe on the side, because it just allows a better synergy of burst. But anyway, Carcion, ooh, big electrocute chain. Oh, another fight here!
GVG, is he caught out here? We've seen him get out of these situations before. Two members right on top of him. Yeah, this time it's not happening at all. Train Game finally gets an answer kill as the bottom lane looks to cause a little bit of havoc here. That's going to be a dead fish, and it might be a dead Dracula to follow right afterwards. The pop and the ignite tick, the double kill for our Carcion.
had the full stack on the queue, ready to get some health back before going down, and for some reason had a bit of cold feet. Made the assumption he had enough health bar to survive Acarcion's damage. Certainly a mistake he will end up regretting, as he did have enough of a steal of health that he could have gotten it all back. Maybe enough to at least prevent Acarcion from killing him, but you can just sense the fear in the impact Acarcion was able to make with Blight and Voss on the side.
Yeah, definitely. And this game almost looking out of control despite the gold lead being by no means astronomically in favor of Naughty Nips. Once again, though, they might put themselves in trouble. Fluent Gains gonna get taken out here in the mid lane. Blight's the one that picks up the kill. Gets bubbled underneath the turret.
Oh no, here we go again.
Might be able to let Akihiko pick up a kill here on the trespass. And some good damage along with a turn. Gertzen's there to follow through. And Naughty Nips with another turnaround kill, 18-8.
Gertzen definitely making his statement known for his first debut appearance in Naughty Nips.
Absolutely, and Acarcion also making a very big statement on this Zed so far, 6-3-2.
So, with the combat and so much fighting going on in small skirmishes, every single time this happens, Naughty just comes out on top with every single one of them. So it is looking really great for their chances as a whole, as their whole team is definitely looking very fantastic. Anyway, big damage coming up here.
Yeah, this time it looks
like
it
I
might
can't
get
believe
turned
it.
on them. The Paddle Star misses out of gluten gains, and that means Gertzen gets out alive.
Man, that is a big opportunity. Heavily missed there.
Yeah, it looks like there is no breathing room for anyone here. The casters, no exception, in fact. Back and forth action, 21 minutes in, well over 20 kills as we pretty close to 30. And now, again,
jumps
in
over.
their own jungle, about to get taken out. Akihiko almost gonna die as they cannot answer GBG's pressure in the top lane. Blight picks up the kill in the mid, and this game is beyond the point of salvation for Lobsters.
They're certainly going to keep trying until the old lady sings and Blight goes down.
Yes, but she is quite
Blight gets
loud
a
right now at this point in time as the 5th turret of the game goes down. Lobsters, they haven't picked up a single turret. They've barely gotten themselves an advantage, and it looks like they have completely struggled and strangled them out of this match.
So, bot lane ended up doing a pretty successful job bouncing back in the later half of the game. Zed was able to dominate the early half, and GVG pulling up his usual best. Although normally he ends up with a much larger farm lead, definitely not on top of his game as much as he used to be, at least by statistical points. He definitely seems to be a little bit less on the farm category. But Blight pulling it out with his own damage chart as well, doing a very solid amount of work to keep this game and keep Naughty Nips looking very strong since their recent developments.
Definitely, and you saw them in the AOL Phoenix series. It didn't look clean, it didn't look pretty. It's good to see the team back in their regular formation now, having a strong 5-man lineup, looking good in this matchup against Lobsters.
That's a lot of burst damage is what I would have said if Warwick was taking a ton of damage, which he was.
Goodness gracious. We see Jungler's getting cut out here. Blight is next on the chopping block. Humble Trespass not going to be enough to save him. There are so many Lobsters around him. The Crustaceans take the kill and shot down for Drain Game.
GVG looking for some trouble. I didn't think he found it. The suppression cancels the blast cone.
The blast cone is what cancels it there. GVG is going to fall in this situation. The flash doesn't mean anything. Wah picks up the kill, and Lobsters finally are able to answer back off of one of Naughty's many plays.
Wow, I did not think the animation would work that way. What an interesting development. Oh,
No time to breathe,
Gerson!
just get on it. We're right back into it. Sanguine Pool is going to take him very low. The Living Shadow and the Swirl Around will pick up a Carsey on the kill. And it's not even done yet. Now Train Game on the run, under fire, about to get caught out by Gertson, who's looking for more on this one. Flashes under him into melee range and is going to get the kill. Another shutdown coming through.
And that is absolutely great things for Naughty Nips in the future, seeing Gertson just having a grand old time in these environments, able to get good catches and good trades off of good plays like that. Just, it's a great thing if you're a fan of Naughty Nips to see, because Gertson's definitely fitting in really well right now in this match.
Oh, absolutely. Very good stuff out of the entire Naughty Nip squad so far. Lobsters tried to go with the no ED carry game, and it has cost them sufficiently.
Wow,
so
they're
far.
even looking for some problems here, as they noticed a Warwick running out of the area of their vision.
Yeah, they have. Lobsters have to be incredibly careful, even in their own jungle. That is where Naughty is having their camp so far.
Here we go.
Here we go. Gloom Gains does have this Lady Trouble bubble, but the damage is just way too ridiculous for anything to be done about it. They might at best kill a Carcion, who is still going to get away in this situation. Nips are looking for more kills on this one. Gamer about to meet another death. 0-7-4 on the Nami about to happen. It's going to be picked up by a Carcion over the wall. And this is just absolutely disgusting.
The abilities of heavy lockdown and CC is really troubling for an average Nami player, and Gamer, although having a fantastic game with Janna on the previous matchup, is absolutely completely struggling in this part of the game, and it's rather unfortunate to see. Gangplank desperately trying to steal this.
Yeah, they've actually gotten Naughty very low from this one, but the Baron is secured by Blythe. There is no hope at the end of the tunnel for Lobster Gang Esports. Naughty Nips pick up the Baron, and should just be textbook League of Legends from this point onwards.
Yep, and it will be really good work for Naughty Nips as they manage to get to a very comfortable spot in the game. At this stage, it is a bit of a over-greediness that could cost them here, but so far, they definitely have been utilizing every single sense of the word capture the target, because they set up in bushes, they wait for the enemy to come up, they position themselves so they can take advantage of them, and even when they think that they might have a chance to get out, wham! They just jump them right in an instant and get rid of them before they had the chance to think about anything else.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's something that kind of has been overlooked here. There is a absolutely massive gold lead on the side of Naughty here. Akihiko,
Again.
not sure if he can get out of this one. It's going to be some good damage, but with 3 members of Naughty Nips there is no chance any of that works. So the Cursian also going to pick up a kill in the mid lane, and too much is absolutely destroyed. This Lobsters are not able to survive any of the pressure that Naughty Nips are exerting here. 27 minutes in, the base is about to get cracked.
And inhibs will start to fall soon. GVG trying to catch one individual. He's going to get a good chance at it. No! He's going to let that one go, but it's an inhibitor. No, 2 inhibitors that appear to be cracking.
Yeah, and I think
this could be the game right here, folks. Last stand for both sides.
It's gonna look like that for sure. The first Nexus turret does get taken down. The second one will be no exception whatsoever. Naughty Nips with a commanding victory over Lobster Gang Esports here. They're not even gonna be afraid of the fountain as they look for a couple more kills. The Nexus will be the focus, and Naughty Nips are coming out with a victory here.
And that ought to do it, folks. That's how the night ends for you.
Absolutely disgusting game. A near 20,000 gold lead by Naughty Nips at the very end of it. And just constant aggression. Dare I say, that's double what AOL Phoenix would do to a team. Right? That is, there's absolutely no chance to breathe.
Speaking of that, let's take a look at the damage charts real quick. Holy moly, Zyra! 21k damage! Oh boy, I thought it was the Zed and Kai'Sa hurting real bad. It was actually the Zyra hurting so consecutively that I don't think Vladimir was even allowed to play in this game, and that's honestly a really good job, by the way, by Naughty Nips to realize that Vladimir is definitely going to have a lot more struggling against a heavy poking bot lane and a very strong, overwhelming amount of consistent damage. Vladimir doesn't really fare too well against that, and you can see on the damage charts how fairly he handled that with a 48k in damage for Vladimir. Definitely not a good sight to see.
Not at all, but absolutely an amazing showing from Naughty Nips and absolutely gross numbers on the damage charts here. Zyra wasn't even the one that the camera was panning on most of the time, but Voslo still comes out with most damage in the game, and the rest of Naughty Nips by no means falling short behind that, with every single member dealing over 10,000 damage.
Well, not too surprising statistics here. We take a look at the damage taken and self-mitigated damage. And it looks to be Warwick taking the most damage in the entire matchup, 32k on that one. You know, these engaging junglers seem to be quite easily the ones that it would be the focus the most. But my big concern is how much damage the AP carry Vladimir took, almost tying the gangplank with how much damage you take. You definitely don't like that type of statistical number when your bot lane is essentially doing very low, if not the least amount of damage in the game, and also up there for tanking the most damage in the match. Definitely Vladimir was a target, and they absolutely wanted to get rid of it as soon as possible.
Absolutely the case here, and the bottom lane for Lobsters had it very rough. So did Akihiko, not really able to make too much pressure with the map collapsing on him with this Warwick pickup. Let's scroll down to the vision to see who had the best.
Seems like a good idea. Just wanted to point out as well, Voss definitely had a very fun time in that matchup. Certainly felt more like a normal queue game than an actual competitive environment, because you don't really see quite as much fun factor as you do in those type of situations. Voss with the 57 in the vision score, definitely not having the bad day he had last week. He's definitely having a much better game going in with Gertzen in his repertoire. But let me see what kind of situation we have here on the pink ward score, as the vision score looked pretty well for most of the team.
We don't have one, but we actually have two Naughty Boys on our list right now. No control wards for Gloon and Gains and Blight. Gloon and Gains I can kind of get. You're getting absolutely murdered by the Zed in the mid lane. Still no exception or reason to not buy it, but Blight, I think he was having a little too much fun this game.
Yeah, and Gertzen getting himself a control ward, ending the superstition he had of himself, saying, if I ever buy a control ward, I lose games. Certainly ending that right then and there with an immediate halt. But that's essentially how the cookie crumbles here, folks, as that is the last game of the day. Do we have any other final things we want to say about what's to come? Well, I'll certainly let you know about that. So the mysterious team that essentially was supposed to fill in this week didn't seem to come around anytime soon. So an immediate drastic measures were taken, and it appears to be a new team summoned from the depths of the Duo Esports' hell, if you will, as it appears to be perhaps all the forgotten, forsaken, and banished demons of Dota's individual perspective. Perhaps he had banished them because they were too good, or perhaps he had banished them because they were too much meme. You'll certainly find out tomorrow, 2 p.m. Naughty Nips will be going up against the Dota's demons here. This will be an interesting little matchup here, considering me personally, after playing quite a number of games with Gertzen, will end up having to face against him in the match to come, and it's a very interesting development as well. We'll have more matches other than that, though. Skullcap Gaming will go up against Epic Sax Gaming. I believe you will also have your own match, Enigmatic Gaming versus the Les Eskimos, and Naughty Nips coming back again against Kiss Gaming. So
yeah, an action-packed weekend coming through. If you thought this was all the games we had, you were completely wrong, because we have even more games on their way. As Army just said, action-packed games coming in through for Saturday. Make sure to tune in, starting at 2 p.m. EST, and at roughly ending at 5 p.m. As for that,
Um,
though, I think a solid way to end it off, though, is my name was Shuna, your played like a PvP caster, and joining me on the broadcast tonight was the currently MIA Sonic Abs on the color, and of course,
oh yes, Army Overlord, who is here and definitely was not paying attention. The situation as of right now is I've been ordered to do host Warhood, but I have no idea how to do that.
well, we will find out surely one way, somehow, at the end of the broadcast here. Nonetheless, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll be right back at you tomorrow.
Yep, see you around, folks.